Hey guys, welcome to A Million Things About Japan. I'm Machiko. On each episode, I would like to introduce things related to Japan. It can be Japanese food, culture, customs, and more. But something unique, something really Japanese, and hopefully something new to you. So please subscribe to the channel and find out what Japan has to offer. よろしくお願いします。First, I want to show you a short video. Can you guess what he's doing? When Japanese people hear this sound, some may grab a pot and go out to buy some tofu. This is an old-style tofu seller. It is not very common anymore, but we still see them sometimes even in a city like Tokyo. Tofu is a product made from soybeans and is essential for traditional Japanese washoku meals. There are many soybean products used daily in Japan, such as soy sauce, miso, natto, and tofu. In Japan, we often say, 豆腐は畑の肉, which means tofu is the meat from the field. If you are interested in washoku, you can check out one of the previous episodes, but today, I would like to focus on tofu. The image or usage of tofu may be very different in Japan compared to in your country. Tofu is not just a meat substitute or a useful ingredient for vegan recipes. I want to introduce how Japanese people enjoy tofu. Also, I will share my favorite microwave tofu mochi recipe. It is super easy to make and guilt-free, so please enjoy until the end. Alright then, let's get started. Tofu originated in China over 2,000 years ago, and it was introduced to Japan in the 8th century. When Zen Buddhism was introduced to Japan from China, a part of Zen training was to avoid eating meat or fish. Those who practiced Zen ate dishes only made from plant-based foods, which was known as Shojin ryori, or Buddhist vegetarian cuisine. Tofu became an essential ingredient in this type of cuisine because it supplemented the protein that was often lacking. Tofu was eaten at temples, and eventually, vegetarian dishes became popular with aristocrats and samurai. It was only during the Edo period that tofu began to be fully adopted as a food for the common people. In 1782, the recipe book called Tofu Hyakuchin, which introduced 100 tofu recipes, was published, and it was a huge hit. Another 2 tofu recipe books were published in the following years, and a total of 240 tofu recipes were introduced to the people of Edo. This shows how popular tofu was at that time. The process to make tofu is very simple. First, soybeans are soaked in water to soften. Then, soybeans are mashed and simmered in water. Then, it was strained to extract soy milk. The part left after straining is the byproduct from soybeans, called okara, and Japanese people use this okara too. The most notable feature of okara is its high fiber content. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of okara, but I saw a bag of okara for 60 yen at the tofu shop the other day. I heard that okara was given away in the past. It can be used to create simple vegetarian dishes. Another way to use okara is to add it to ground beef to add volume to a hamburger patty. This liquid coming out is soy milk. Then, a coagulant is added, which is called nigari. It is usually magnesium chloride. This is the freshly made tofu. If it is just scooped without using a mold, it's called oboro-doufu. It has a very smooth texture and you can fully enjoy the bean flavor. There are several types of tofu in Japan, but today I want to focus on the two main types called momen and kinugoshi. The difference between the two is the firmness and texture. Let me start with momen tofu. Momen literally means cotton. To create momen tofu, tofu needs to be poured into a box with holes on the sides, and cotton cloth lining is placed in the mold. Then a weight is placed on top. The tofu hardens as the water is drained. A characteristic of momen tofu is that it retains the texture of the cotton cloth lining inside the box. Momen tofu has a firm texture and feels rough on the tongue. The air bubbles on the cross-section effectively absorb dashi or other flavors. Momen tofu is easy to use. It is resistant to crumbling, so it is good for dishes that are simmered or grilled. My recommendation for a momen tofu dish is agedashi tofu, which is deep-fried tofu. To make agedashi tofu, the momen tofu is coated with flour or potato starch and deep-fried. It is usually served with a simple dashi-based sauce. The tofu is hot and soft, but the outside has absorbed the sauce well, creating an interesting texture. Agedashi tofu served at izakaya, which is a Japanese-style bar, is always very good. The other type of tofu, and maybe the most popular type, is called kinugoshi tofu. This is silken tofu. Kinugoshi tofu is made by simply pouring the soy milk into the box mold and adding nigari to solidify it. It is smooth and easy to eat. A simple way to eat it is called hiyayakko, which is cold tofu with soy sauce and some condiment such as green onion, bonito flakes, and grated ginger. I should not recommend this because this is not good manners, but you can try cold tofu on top of warm rice. Yum yum. Or it can be used as an ingredient of miso soup. If you have a chance to visit Kyoto, I highly recommend you try yudofu, which Kyoto is famous for. Yudofu is boiled tofu and one of the traditional Japanese hot pot dishes. The tofu is boiled in water or dashi stock and you eat them with some yakumi or Japanese condiment. Typical condiment can be green onions, bonito flakes, and grated daikon. You can enjoy it with soy sauce or other types of Japanese sauce. When I was a kid, I didn't like tofu very much. I was not able to enjoy it. I could not taste the soybean, and it always tasted a little bit too plain to me. However, when I visited Kyoto for our school trip, yudofu lunch was served at Nanzenji Temple. The area around the Nanzenji Temple in Kyoto is famous as the birthplace of yudofu. I was not very excited, but yudofu changed my mind completely. It was shockingly good. I have liked tofu ever since. When I was living in the United States, tofu was available at almost any supermarket, but it seemed like farm tofu was the most popular. Usually, I prefer kinugoshi tofu, which should be their silk tofu, but I always bought extra silk for a Japanese-type kinugoshi texture. Most of the time, the silk tofu was a little bit too hard for me. When I was working at the bakery cafe, I had a chance to try our vegetarian sandwich. It was like Vietnamese banh mi, and it had lots of vegetables and thick rectangular slices. First, I thought it was a big piece of cheese. Then, I noticed it was not cheese. I tried it by itself, and it tasted somehow familiar, but I could not tell what it was. A couple days later, I asked one of the staff, and she told me that it was tofu. I was very surprised. The texture was not the tofu I knew at all. I believe it was extra farm tofu. I knew tofu is used as a substitute for meat sometimes, but I didn't even consider that. Lastly, I want to share my favorite tofu mochi recipe with you. I've made it many times since I found it on Instagram. It was super easy, super healthy, and a super satisfying tofu sweet. First, crush 150 grams of silken tofu. Then add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 3 tablespoons of potato starch. You can use cornstarch as well. Then mix well. I usually use a whisk to make it as smooth as possible. Cover the bowl loosely with a piece of plastic wrap and microwave it for a minute. Take it out and mix it well. It should not be ready yet, so cover it again and microwave it for another minute. Take it out, mix well again. The goal is to get the mochi texture. If it's not ready yet, then repeat another 30 seconds or so until you get the mochi texture. That's it. I always add a lot of kinako, which is soybean powder, and pour kuromitsu, which is brown sugar syrup, on top, and then eat it. The mochi part surprisingly doesn't have a bean smell, so I think it can go well with other sauces. It is obviously very healthy and easy to get a lot of protein as well. Since this is very filling, I eat this for my lunch sometimes. If you are looking for a guilt-free dessert, please try it. Tofu is well known around the world, but here in Japan, it may be different than what you are familiar with. So if you have a chance to visit Japan, I would like you to try our many ways to enjoy tofu. You may be able to find tofu donuts or tofu soft serve as well. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. I also have an Instagram account for A Million Things About Japan. I share additional photos and information about Japan. You can find the link in the description. Do you have a favorite way to eat tofu? Or are there any special tofu dishes in your country? I would like to hear about it, so please leave a comment. Alright then, stay tuned for more episodes. まったね。